Welcome to Anxiety is Real, the one-of-a-kind podcast that takes all of the successful components of individual counseling specifically for anxiety disorders and creates a 10-session podcast model assisting children and adults in understanding and managing their anxiety effectively. This podcast was specifically designed by anxiety specialist and licensed therapist Kris, who with over 12 years of license experience and over 20 years of field experience has successfully helped hundreds of children and adults overcome their anxiety by utilizing this specially designed program. Now, without further ado, please welcome the host of Anxiety is Real, Kris.
Welcome to this week's episode of Anxiety is Real. Thank you for joining us today. We're happy to have you with us to learn about anxiety. We're going to learn how to be more aware and how to understand your anxiety, and then how to manage it effectively like a boss. We're going to talk today and talk about the cognitive challenges of your anxiety being too high for too long. We're going to, let some more secrets out that will help you in understanding and managing your anxiety, no doubt. If you remember last couple sessions or last couple episodes that we've had, we've identified how high your anxiety is, and if it was high, we didn't tell you to run and to be scared of it. We just told you to, if you remember, to accept it and validate your own feelings and validate others' feelings. And then the second one was second thing that we talked about was how long that you've had this anxiety. And we talked about ideally, you want to be able to have these feelings and move through it after 2 weeks. And if it stays and lingers for more than 2 weeks, we encourage you to reach out and talk to others, talk to a professional, talk to a doctor to get some help. It could be an indicator that, something's not working as good as it can be working. So today we got a really, really great episode. My name again is Kris, and I am a licensed therapist with over 10,000 hours of specialized experience training in life and anxiety. I'm co-owner and therapist for Genuine Counseling Services. My wife Jody and I started back in 2009 our own practice because of the challenges that we were seeing with mental health. The last couple years, we have seen an increase in anxiety with our patients, and our patients are coming in and they're learning about it, they're understanding it, they're being aware of it, and then essentially they are learning to manage it effectively, and we're happy to help. And with that, we want you to know that there is help out there. But today, once again, we got a great show lined up. Once again, to hammer what we've been hammering on the prior episodes is that anxiety is still normal. I think our count is up to 9 times that we've said that so far.
Yes.
Our goal is going to be, you know what our goal is with that, Mr. Marcus?
What's our goal?
As many as it takes.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Today what we would like to do is we would love to have all of our listeners tell 100 of their friends about our podcast so we can all chant on our 10th episode, anxiety is normal. And everybody would have permission to feel okay. Okay, and that's one of the things that we take pleasure in doing is to let you know that it is okay to have anxiety, and that it's okay for others to have anxiety as well.
Kris.
Yes?
I have anxiety.
It's okay, and it's normal. Thank you, Marcus, for sharing. The more we get this message out to everyone, the better off, in my opinion, we will be. The more that we can talk about our feelings, the better off that we will be, the better off our kids will be. But it is, and it can be a challenging task for a lot of individuals. So we didn't give out any homework last week. We did the first week, so if you did your homework, congratulations, and that was to identify 10 healthy coping skills that you can use to manage your anxiety. This week we are excited because we will be giving out 50 points today, Mr. Marcus. That's right. So very excited to offer you activities that we've used in counseling that have worked well in managing anxiety. So the points are special, but what you get out of, utilizing and doing these assignments, if you have, high anxiety or stress, that is the real prize, in my opinion. So today we're going to talk about the cognitive challenges of, high anxiety. And through the years, I've been blessed to meet, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of people at this point, who have struggled with different feelings. And as a counselor, I take great pride in trying to listen as best as I can, and serve individuals to the best capacity possible. So you start to pick up some things, and with high anxiety in general, or anxiety disorders, there are some commonalities that I have noticed, and we're going to talk about that today. One of the big ones that we talked about in prior episodes, podcasts, was about the focus that individuals seem to have when they first come in for counseling. Okay. And when they first come in and they present, or they're referred for anxiety, and they're an adult, what we do is we ask them, of course, 1 to 10, how are they doing? And they look at me like I'm from a different planet. And I kind of, teach them how the scale works. 10 means it's great. 5 is okay. 1 is lousy. It's not really deep for a reason. It's not rocket science, because I came up with it, and I'm okay with that. I couldn't imagine how they put rockets out there. You want to talk about high anxiety? Wow, just thinking about what that would look like. Man, major props to those individuals.
Definitely.
So, after they answer how their day is going, at no point in time do I tell them they shouldn't feel that way. One of the key components to validating and working through anxiety is exactly what I said, validating it. It's okay if you're having a bad day. I'm sorry you're having a bad day, actually. I hope it gets better. Or I'm glad you're having a good day. And with that, the next question I have is, how high is your stress or anxiety, depending on what you were referred for, on a scale of 1 to 10, and then measuring it. Most of my individuals, they average a 10. And I say they average a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 because there was one individual who rated his 10 million. So naturally, he took everybody else's number, and he put it at a 10.
Oh, yeah, that's grading with a curve right there.
Absolutely. In all honesty, most of the individuals that I see, though, are 8, 9, or 10. What do you think high anxiety impacts the most, Marcus, would you say?
Well, I would take a guess and say the individual themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So individuals themselves, do you think there's any commonalities between gender, race, socioeconomic?
Well, for myself personally, I can only speak from the standpoint of being a male, but honestly, when I think about it, I feel like it would probably be hardest for us as males to identify that, and especially to be able to admit it and then begin to try to deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're saying the actual challenge on accessing help would be the most difficult?
Oh yeah, I mean it's a man thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need any help.
Absolutely.
I'm a man. I'm not
going out to
supposed to
hunt for
need
my
help.
food.
Right.
Absolutely.
I'm helping everyone else with their help.
That's right.
So
it's a good point.
It's a sign of weakness if I need help, right?
Most definitely, and that's a typical response that I get from individuals on why it took them for so long. And I will say this: males typically are, when they come in for counseling, in my experiences, based upon what I've seen, males are older or later in age in their access, and this isn't the third or fourth time, and mad props to the moms and the women out there who, if it doesn't work for them the first time, they're going to find somebody different, and they're going to keep going at it until a lot of times they find that right person, which is great. A lot of times males, we want it to be a slam dunk, and if it doesn't, then it was a waste of time. Either way, in any way, As far as who high anxiety or anxiety disorders impact, I think it's pretty fair to say that it impacts us all, in one capacity. I have yet to see, one gender, one age group, one socioeconomic, group be affected more than another group.
So we're all in the same boat.
It's a big, giant boat, Marcus. Absolutely. And on this boat, I want you to picture, all the people not talking about their feelings, but asking, who are the Panthers playing this week?
Wow.
And with that, I think those are some of the challenges in all seriousness. But in my meetings, going back to that, our goal, which is to identify some commonalities, after we've identified how they're doing, how high their number is, we start asking some questions and you start to hear some similar themes. One of the themes that I've heard over and over and over again was the statement of, I feel like I don't have control over anything in my life. Have you ever heard anyone say that, Marcus?
I've felt that way myself at times.
You felt that way?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's good awareness. Have you ever told anybody that?
Absolutely not.
Thank you. We're going to give Mr. Marcus 25 bonus points for being brutally honest. Thank you, Mr. Marcus. And yeah, absolutely. That is one of those statements that, we can assure Mr. Marcus he is not alone. In fact, I am in that boat with you. What it might mean, if I feel like I don't have any control over anything, what can come with that, how will people view me, et cetera, et cetera. We talked about that stigma and those thoughts that others may have in episodes 1 and 2, and they're still there for episode 3 as well. It's tough to be real with individuals on a deep, deep level. And with that, that's one of the goals. And like I said, Mr. Marcus and I are really excited about is getting that message out that it's okay to have feelings, and feelings, are okay. And anxiety is normal.
Let me chime in real quick,
Sure.
if I can, Kris.
Yep.
How different would it be for that post-game interview? Like I said, I think about sports a lot when I think about things, and how different would that post-game interview be with that game-winning quarterback if he actually told the reporter exactly how he felt in that big moment, instead of him saying, well, I knew that we were down and I just had to rally the troops and trust the coaches and just stick to it. And the end result, we won the game. But what if he actually said, I was scared out of my mind. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if anything was going to work. And I just went out there and thank God it all came together.
I wonder what that would look like. And I would love to see that. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know what would happen. That was the question. And I don't know how, the reporters would react, team owners would react, coaches would react, society would react.
And that's our fear, right? Is that we don't know how everybody would react if we told the truth.
It could be a fear. It's relevant. If you have that fear, you are not alone. And I would venture to say there's 1 or 2 million others out there, possibly. Talking about that a little bit more too, in recent news. I don't know if you caught this one or not. The sports leagues are starting to, become more engaged in discussion about mental health. I'm very promised by, what I've been hearing about in the NBA as well as the NFL. But if you remember, I don't know if you caught this or not, Marcus, about Kevin Love and his anxiety that he has been struggling with throughout his career.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is powerful. And it came out, and it was a really, really brave thing that he did. And it was even, I think it was great that the media, gave him a platform to be able to, create discussion about anxiety for him, but anxiety for everybody, because once again, it is a normal feeling. I think that was like number 11 as well. So, maybe for when we get to 100, we'll have a really great, like, boom, 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 like something fireworks with it. So, back to that discussion, awareness is good. We had you rate your number. First week, gave you an assignment to bring down that number. Second week, we identified, the second episode, we had you identify what's different about your number than everybody else's. And it could have been how long you've been dealing with this high anxiety. So this meeting or this episode here is about the commonalities. And this still feeds into the awareness and the education and the understanding of anxiety. Okay. And like I said before, one of the commonalities that I see is things that are out of your control to focus on individuals with high anxiety. One of the things that I do, after that, check in, 1 to 10, how's the day going? How high is your anxiety? We get into the discussion and you hear them say, I don't have a say so in this. I don't, this could happen, that could happen, this could happen. And then, you wait till the right moment. And then you get to the place to where, well, and this is a question over the years I've really hammered. And whenever I say this, I really, take in this moment, because this is the moment of how tough it has been and it is for individuals at times. Okay. And with that, I want you all to know that it is going to be okay, and it is okay. But when I ask them, after they've identified things that they don't control, well, what do you have control over? And I'm going to say it again because it's a powerful question with high anxiety. And if you have high anxiety, you know what I'm talking about. What do you have control over? What do you feel like you have control over? And I think, as a society, since we're not talking about our feelings on a deep level, this is something that, Marcus wouldn't know about me, or Marcus wouldn't know about others, and others may not even know about their own wives or husbands or children. It's a deep conversation, but like I said, it comes with an awareness and an understanding. And without that, it could be like that storm that we're talking about, driving down that road and not knowing what's going on. So I'm going to ask you again, what do you have control over? And if this is a tough subject for you, please do not turn it off, because there's some good stuff. I mean, some great stuff. We got 50 points to give out. But most importantly, we have a solution for this. And it might not be an easy one, but it's one that I've seen, with a high effectiveness rate in our practice, my wife and I's practice. And it's one, when you utilize and you implement, it helps. And then, and the great part about it is it's a cognitive activity, meaning that, it's something that you can take with you everywhere you go. I think those are some of the challenges of coping skills. Sometimes with that, they take some time. They take some effort, some of them, like going to the gym. You got to have time to go to the gym. You have time to go for a run. You have to make sure everything's done at the house before you do all these different things. And they can create more anxiety, and like I said last episode, and anxiety is difficult because if it sits, a lot of times what happens is it manifests itself if you don't do nothing with it, which is one of the reasons I think it's a growing epidemic for society, and it's really difficult to treat because it's so individualized. Okay, so with that being said, if you weren't able to list anything that you have control over, we do have some good news. We're going to offer you some help today with that. And that is going to be, your homework assignment is going to be to identify and list 10 things that you have control over. Yeah, I said it. I said 10. I didn't say 3. I didn't say 1. I said 10. And once again, if this is really tough for you, don't turn it off. Keep it on. We're going to talk about it. We're going to give you some help. because what I have found is individuals with high anxiety, going back to what they have in common a lot of times, is that overthinking. Overthinking, it could start with, well, today I want to get my oil changed. I want to go to Jiffy Lube at 5 o'clock today, Marcus. Walk me through that situation on how I could overthink that.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, you can start thinking about what if scenarios.
What if? Well, I mean, what if they're closed?
What if they're busy?
What if they're busy?
So many what ifs can come in there if you allow them to really throw that whole situation for a loop.
And individuals with high anxiety, you know what I'm talking about with that. You have the best intentions, but when you start out with something that others might seem that should, think that should seem easy, it turns into, a mountain before it's all said and done. And I think those are the challenges because nobody else knows, especially if you're not talking about it. So what we're going to do is identify and take it real basic with you, those things that you do have control over. And when we apply this, by the way, we've had so much success with it. I've actually coined the term. It's fantastic. And my wife laughs at me, and it's kind of like, I think somebody else has already coined the term of what we're doing here. I'm like, really? She's like, yep. And I want to Google it. And I was like, wait, that's not it. That's not it. So I'm going to keep using this, and I'm going to take credit for the coin. Okay. And what we're going to do in this episode, especially after you do your homework, is you are going to apply what's called a cognitive shift. Take it in, take it in, take it in, take it in, take it in. A cognitive shift.
Wow.
You like that term?
It sounds great.
It sounds great.
Yes.
You know what the other option for that term, the other coin?
What's the other coin?
Cognitive rewire. What do you think about that one?
That's a good one, too.
You know what? I have more fun with the cognitive rewire, and truth be told, disclosure, I use both of those terms interchangeably, but I tend to use cognitive rewire with my teenage population with high anxiety. You know why I do it for, Marcus?
What's that?
Because it's fun. What I do is after they meet with me, and we check in, and we ask them how they're doing, 1 to 10, check in on how their anxiety, how the school year's going, how the month's going, how life is going, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When we get to this part, it's probably about the third session. So episode 3, you have a rapport, and they get to know you. They get to know that, Mr. Kris, he tries to be funny. I don't know why he does it, because he's not very funny.
But he tries.
I try. I hear that a lot. I hear that so much. So they get a good feel for it. And the best part is whenever we get to that point on the cognitive rewire, and they're sitting on the couch across from me, and I tell them that we're going to do a cognitive rewire today, and I'm talking very serious too. Okay? I just got to find the right chords. I got to find the right wires. And, I'm going to hook them up to a machine, and it's not going to take very long. And I take in that moment, and I'm very serious. About after 30 seconds, I let them in on, we don't need any wires, and we don't need any cords. This is all done in your mind. Did you know your mind is a powerful thing, Marcus?
I've been told that a time or two.
Yeah, absolutely. It really, really is. And I tell you, I would love to have taken that course on minds, on the power of your mind, because, wow, it can do a great deal of good, or it can do a great deal of harm. And, with that high anxiety piece, going back to the cognitive shift, what we find if you're focused on things that are out of your control all the time, then you're going to feel naturally like you don't have any control. So a cognitive shift, and back to your homework assignment, and identifying 10 things that you do have control over. Okay, and focusing on those things, and I'm saying focusing and memorizing that list, you would be essentially doing a cognitive shift and a cognitive rewiring. In my opinion, it's one of the best interventions that we've developed, and highly effective. In fact, I've never had anyone, come back and say that it wasn't effective. For a lot of people, they come back, and I kid you not, they're brighter, their aura is strong, and I already know that they did their assignment. I don't even have to ask them. I just ask them how did it feel, and they're smiling. They're like, man, and they don't take notice about it a lot of times. But if you think about that for a minute, you're taking your thought process that you felt like you had that didn't focus on having control over anything, and shifting it to the things that you do. I've had many people tell me it's empowering.
Wow.
And I don't take that, having a thought process for granted, because I'm a counselor and I see so many people struggle, with focusing on things out of their control. But I wouldn't know, how difficult and how challenging it has to be, to wake up and feel like you don't have a say so or control over anything.
Mm.
Okay, and then that's where the help is. So obviously, if you're still listening, you didn't tune out because the homework assignment was too tough. So here you go, real basic for you. Okay, what did you have for breakfast today? Did you have breakfast today? What'd you wear today? Are you going to work in your pajamas? Do you have control over that? What are you going to eat for lunch today? What are you going to do on your break? Who are you going to talk to? Do you have control over that? Okay, you get where I'm coming from? Okay, because the opposite, in my opinion, of overthinking it is keeping it really, really simple. Okay, and it what we have seen is not only can it make a difference, it will make a difference if you take that, focus and not concentrate on those things that you can't control or you don't control, but the things that you do. For example, I can sit here in the office all day and, worry about a giant asteroid taking out the whole community. Marcus, what would that feel like for 8 hours?
Oh, my goodness. First of all, we have to get you from underneath the desk.
Absolutely.
That's the first part.
I don't know if I can fit under that desk over there. I'm going to need a bigger desk.
So we can even get you from there. Then, then there's steps that we have to take from there to just to get you to start to function.
What do you think about that? I know we're winding down here, but what do you think about the media? What do you think about all the reinforcers that we have, and what kind of influence they have off of our lives? Do they tend to highlight the things that we have control over, Marcus? Would you say, or what do you got?
I definitely would say this. For me personally, it's hard to watch the news.
Why is that?
Because 90% of it is either bad news or it's leading me to think that bad things are coming.
How does that feel?
It definitely does not help my number.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the reason why I even have started the mission that I've started myself and some of my colleagues, is because we want positive media to have a platform. We want to be able to spread the good news because there's a lot of good out here and a lot of great things. And if we focus on those things as opposed to, the things that are out of our control, it will make a big difference in how we view things and how we view the future even.
Absolutely, and that's a great piece of feedback, and we will talk about that at even deeper lengths as far as things that help our anxiety or high anxiety or anxiety disorders, and things that make it challenging. So it's a great piece of feedback, and congratulations on your mission. To get more good out there. The more good that you pour in, the more good that you will get out, no doubt. So today, just a quick review of what we did. Man, it was a great episode.
Yes.
On anxiety and understanding your anxiety. And I feel like you all are learning, and understanding your anxiety. If you've been through with us from episode 1 to where you identified how high your anxiety was, and you validated it, and you started validating your child's anxiety and your boss's anxiety, which might be difficult, but you're passing that. It's okay to have anxiety, and it's normal. Then we're starting to get that message out. And then the second episode of when should you have some concern about your high anxiety, your anxiety in general, no more than 2 weeks. And then we want you, of course, to reach out and ask for some help. And then today we actually gave you one of our favorite strategies on reducing your anxiety by applying a cognitive shift. I just like saying it, like shift. Okay, because you're taking what you focus on, what you don't control, and you're shifting it to what you do control. And with that, we want you to identify, list, and memorize your list of 10 things. In all honesty, too, if this is too tough and you don't like the examples or the help that you've got, go ask for help. Ask your husband, ask your wife, ask your child, ask a friend, ask a neighbor, ask the cashier. Hey, what do I have control over? And don't worry about the looks that you may get. I'm going to tell you something. I get looks all the time. And, you can have fun with those looks. You can even start to shoot looks back. It gets really, really, entertaining at a low cost as well. And there's nothing wrong with a good bit of humor these days. Thank you. So thank you for joining us today. It was a great, great show. Do not forget to do your homework assignment for those 75 points. We would like to thank our sponsors, Genuine Counseling, for this segment, this episode. If you know someone, or you want to talk, or you have questions about anxiety or any challenges, mental health, anything, then just go to Genuine Counseling at GastoniaCounseling.com, and you'll have all the information, phone numbers where you'll be able to reach out and talk, to a counselor and get some support, or, get some answers. And with that, we want to thank Mr. Marcus again for his great assistance and all of his support. And we wish you a great week filled with heightened awareness, great self-care, and all the success and happiness that comes along with it. And also, do not forget that great cognitive shift homework assignment, 75 points. Have a great week, everyone. See you next episode.
Thank you for joining us for another exciting episode of Anxiety is Real. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Opay Media Group and Genuine Counseling Services. Genuine Counseling Services would love to connect with you and help further assist you in your anxiety goals. Please reach out to them at www.genuinecounselingservice.com. That's genuinecounselingservice.com. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Until next time, we wish you a great week filled with heightened awareness, great self-care, and all the success and happiness that comes with it.